Hello, people. This is another episode of What Do Video Games Do to Morons? And I have a list here of all the genres of video games. I decided to title this, What Do Video Games Teach in a Loser Perspective? Now, I'm going to go through every one of them. Now, there are arcade games, and there are old-class shooters and that stuff. So, if you were a loser playing arcade games, you obviously would go out and you would decide to go and do this in reality. Action? Now, we all know action games. We all know what action games are. They're fighting, fighting, shooting, killing, making a lot of bloodshed, that stuff. They can also be very positive action games, meaning action adventure games, like say for example, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. That was an adventure game. You could grind on rails, and it was really fun. But adventure games in a loser perspective, that I would say it teaches those morons to... It teaches young morons to actually go out and have an adventure and go out and shoot and kill people. That's basically what their minds are to when it comes to those kind of games. So, moving on. Well, I pretty much covered action and adventure. It's the same thing. Fighting, what I just discussed, is losers. If they play fighting games, you are your mind's gonna be thinking that, because there's fighting games on here, I can go and beat whoever the heck I want. And, if somebody gives me a bad day in school on that stuff, then I'm gonna go and just beat them up because, well, they did something to me, so therefore I have the right to beat them and smack them in their face because I just feel doing what the heck it is I want. Alright, if I want to go beat somebody up because I'm playing too much Grand Theft Auto, or I'm playing too much WWE or whatever, and you just feel like you get your blood pumping and you feel the pride of playing WWE, so you want to go and you just want to go beat up somebody in reality. Puzzle? I don't think that well, actually it does, because puzzle, it gets the mind working when, if you're, say you're in jail or whatever I'm at, or, puzzle, it can train your brain to be a real criminal, like, say, for example, robbing a bank, or, you steal from other people, yeah. That's exactly what puzzles would do. So, basically, a loser that plays puzzle games will actually get the criminal mind working. Okay, racing. I don't necessarily have... Well, there's one thing. Racing, basically, whenever you buy a car, losers can think that they don't have to listen to speed limits and that stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of that going on. Nobody listens to traffic laws anymore. Nobody does. RPG, I don't really have anything to say about that. Simulation, I don't have anything for that. Sports, I wouldn't call sports necessarily. You couldn't learn anything bad from sports. Shooter. Now, shooter is the most it's the most common thing that happens in reality. Now, if you're in a shooter, if you're a person who loves shooter games, especially first-person shooter, losers, they can play so much Fortnite and that stuff that they could cause school shootings. That's the biggest problem with people. I've said in many videos that people don't like to take accountability for their actions, right? Well, yeah. Nobody does. And let's say you're playing too much, Doom. Now, Doom is a first-person shooter game. It's a AAA game, and it teaches you to kill zombies and bloodshed, right? Well, whatever you see in Doom, well, I suppose that's okay in reality, right? Yeah, it's okay to go around public facilities and, cause a whole bloodshedded mess of human blood because you shot and you killed people. And you just blame your behavior on video games, right? That's what the whole world does, right? They just blame their behavior on video games, don't take accountability for action, and yeah, nobody does that anymore. Okay. Oh, training. I gotta say training. Training. Now, I know this is supposed to be for training the brain, but I'm gonna say training. Well, training's not really in the loser minds well, let's say training. You could train for Fortnite, and you could train to play Grand Theft Auto on that stuff and be the best person, or the worst person that you could possibly be. And you could train to play Fortnite and Grand Theft Auto and be the best first-person shooter, right? Not really. Okay. Well, lifestyle, I'd have to say you could. Oh, if you want to make your life, if you want to live your life the loser lane, go ahead. I don't blame you on that stuff, because if you want to make the rest of your life a loser in the loser perspective of life, that stuff, I don't go and blame you. You're an actual loser if you go out there and you kill people. That stuff. Now, the last thing that I want to discuss is multiplayer. And multiplayer, well, that has a bunch of games where it's all a mix. So, that's what I have to cover for that. Now, let's be real here. Out of everything that I just discussed, it's... Oh yeah, losers play video games because they want to get a... Oh, they want to get a feel out of that. Do you realize how many losers play video games and go out and do this crap in reality? Do you realize? I mean, society. I described it in 2 words. And those 2 words were, society is really messed up, right? We live in a big society here where everyone will play video games just to get a negative reaction out of it, right? As they play Fornite and that stuff, they're gonna think that it's okay to go out and shoot and kill everybody and that stuff. And Grand Theft Auto is, doing bad things to women and, going out and robbing stores and that stuff and, right. Nobody gives a crap about this stuff. Nobody ever does. I'm right? I'm certainly familiar with what these genres of video games do to losers' brain, alright? There are many people who go out there and play so much Fortnite and Grand Theft Auto that they want to become the biggest loser that they could possibly be on the planet, right? They go out and they shoot and kill people in reality and start these mass shootings and all that stuff. And worst of all, you could become the most horrible American terrorist from playing video games, right? That's how the minds work, right? You play too much Fortnite, or you play too much Modern Combat Blackout, or Call of Duty Black Ops, or whatever, and you train yourself to become an American terrorist, right? I mean, that's what these games do. They just train you to become an American terrorist and be the best school shooter, right? No, necessarily it's not true. You could have fun with playing first-person shooter games, and, you'd be grown up and well enough to know that these first-person shooter games are not meant to be done in reality, right? I mean, yeah, technically, if you go and you shoot and you murder people and that stuff, you're definitely gonna get your butt busted by the cops. And you could serve yourself a good time in prison. I'd say about 40 years or something like that. And if you go and you shoot about let's say 100 kills, 100 people, and you cause 100 deaths and that stuff, I got some bad news for you. You could get the death penalty for that stuff. So, I advise you to be careful when playing video games. Alright, if you're that person who is really on the verge of wanting to pick up a gun or whatever and that stuff, if you're gonna do it because you're hunting for animals, okay? And don't pick up a rifle and, or a pistol, whatever, and shoot and kill, people barge into a mall and threaten to shoot up most of the customers and the employees that work there, and and you become the most terrible person that you can be, right? It's not good. It's not good. Just look at how many losers walk into a bar and that stuff, and they beat people up. And I know bar people. I know bar people. They love to. They love to beat everybody up. That's why I like to stay the heck away from bars. Because most of the people that go into the bars and that stuff beat everybody up. They just beat everybody up because, you know how many people get drunk, they lose their minds, and they just don't even know what they're doing anymore, right? And the father that I discussed in a later video that I last uploaded was, the guy was drunk. He didn't know what he was doing. He was fighting over his son with chicken wings and pizza, and he went down to the cellar and grabbed his gun and threatened to go kill his son over pizza and chicken wings. Now, in the police reports, it said that that guy was drunk. He was very intoxicated. He did not know what he was doing. I don't think he physically wanted to. I don't think he was really meant to go shoot his son over chicken wings. But then again, even if he wasn't drunk, I think he still would have done it because he was a psycho. And yeah. So, video games, I have to say, in a loser's perspective, yeah, they teach you how to become they're used for training to the loser's brain. And in a loser's perspective, video games teach you how to be the best pro school shooter and the best person, make you look tough, and you would go beat somebody up and that stuff. Like, Optimus, he uploaded a video, and it was titled, Video Games Teach the Wrong Reasons. And that's exactly what they do to losers. If they don't have a life, and that stuff, they're gonna think that video games teach the wrong reasons, right? Well, necessarily they don't teach the wrong reasons. But if you're a loser and that stuff, then you're gonna play video games just to get some training to be the best pro school shooter, American terrorist, or you just want to complain and go beat somebody up. Alright? Yeah, that's the problem. People don't use their heads when they're playing video games. They don't use their heads. Like, ask yourself the question, actually what I'm seeing in a video game, like a first-person shooter or fighting, necessarily what am I seeing? Is it okay to do in reality? The answer is no. It'll get you arrested. And that's the problem with losers. Losers don't use their heads when playing these violent video games and that stuff. And they don't even use their head and think that, is this okay to do in reality and that stuff. They just go ahead and do it anyway, right? They're a loser. Losers are gonna do that. I mean, I've seen, I heard a news report, this was like back in the past, this was like probably 8 years ago or something like that, and there's a guy in the Holly Hotel, and he just beats up this one woman, and she's pregnant and that stuff, and kills this pregnant woman. And it was in the news, and the guy got arrested, and yeah, it was a bar, okay? Do you know how many bars there are that have so many messed up morons that go there to a bar every day and, have tattoos over them, and they have, like, tattoos on their back, tattoos on their arm, tattoos on their face, and, like, covered in tattoos. And there are, like, they walk in the bar and they look tough, and they, like, go down there, have a beer, have a good time, and when they get drunk enough, they go and they just, beat up people and got a bunch of bloodshed in the bar. Right? This is what losers do. Losers don't have any brains at all. So, yeah. I just had to get this video out here because, well, let's think positive on video games for a second. Let's think positive for a second. If you're playing Grand Theft Auto or Fortnite and that stuff, the first thing that you're going to see in a positive perspective, since you're, like, you know the difference between right and wrong. You know the difference between right and wrong in a video game, right? Now, playing first-person shooter and fighting games, well, obviously, it's wrong to do in reality. And that if our parents have raised us right, we would know that this is entirely not meant to be done in reality, right? So, thanks to the parents that taught us what is right and what is right and what is wrong in a video game and that stuff, we certainly grown up and have learned that whatever is done in a video game is not right to do in reality. Okay, racing games, for example, they go beyond the speed limit and that stuff. Now, that is obviously wrong, and if you don't want to fork over your money to the cops, then you best obey the speed limits. But yeah, we know the difference between right and wrong. And I play a lot of Splatoon 2 and shooting and killing Inklings and Octolings and that stuff. But I, myself, don't want to be a pro school shooter. I don't want to go out and do this stuff. Do you know how many losers out there play these games so much? Like the first-person shooters and the fighting games and that stuff? Well, they obviously don't have any life. And if they go and do in reality, well, they just want to throw their life away. That's basically the truth right there. They don't love their lives. They just want to... They just want to throw their life away. That's why they play so much of these video games and that stuff. And become a pro school shooter. And, they... Or, beat somebody up, and they're a terrorist. Or say whatever. And... You're obviously dying to throw your life away, aren't you? That's why you losers play these video games. Now, when I say losers, I'm talking about not just every one of these viewers. I'm talking about the people who play these games just don't know the difference between rights and wrongs, right? Nobody ever taught you anything, like any common sense or whatever, and whatever you see in a video game is not okay to do in reality. So, I don't really see what's wrong with video games here. But anyway, if you're losers and you play video games and they just teach you bad lessons every single day and that stuff, well then, obviously you should not be having a video game console, first off. Okay. I don't really... I don't really... I don't really... I don't even necessarily... I don't give a crap about these losers. I'm gonna say this. There are so many losers out there that just use video games for bad reasons. Bad reasons. I don't really... I don't give a... I don't even crap about these guys or these losers who... I don't even give a crap about these losers who use video games for bad purposes. Now, if you want to go out there and be the biggest loser that you can, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say losers that use video games for bad reasons and that stuff. Well, obviously you don't have a life, and you don't know the difference between right and wrongs. And I'm gonna say this. Your mother never taught you, your mother or your father never taught you the difference between right and wrong in a video game, right? Yeah, just like this Fortnite kid. He's out of control. He has been destroying his room, and, he takes advantage of his mother, locks her mother out of the house, and that stuff. And, now, a moron would say, well, it's the video game's fault, not the kid himself, right? No. The reality is, no. It's the kid's problem, not the video games. So, yeah. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I hope that you all hear that, well, everything that I just said about the video game genre, well, necessarily it wasn't really true, but I was just saying what they do to a loser's brain, okay? I didn't really mean, like, all these video games, they don't really do anything to the brain, okay? I just made a video because I want to discuss the genres and what a loser's brain would actually think. So, yeah. You all know what losers do with video games and that stuff. So, I'm gonna end the video today saying this. Before you play a video game, make sure you know the difference between right and wrong. Because everything that a loser does in a video game isn't right. It just isn't right. If you see killing, shooting, bloodshedding, and all that stuff, or fighting games, like take Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, for example, that's a fighting game. WWE, that's a fighting game as well. Punch-Out? Okay, those games are not meant to be done in reality. And we, as non-losers, know the difference between right and wrong. What to do and what not to do in reality when playing a video game, right? Yeah. We are better than these loser morons out there. And yeah, video games teach the wrong reasons. If you're a loser. This is Charles Morse. Have a good day. I'll see you all in the next video.